story is a woman, not long, not short, a woman with body of carved petroglyph, tongue of red memories, eyes of dark insight, ears of drummed legends. I'll just read that first section, and that's by Merido Moore. This was part of a newsletter that I collected and saved. My name is Jerry Ambers, and my name from my territory, the Namgais of the Kwakwaka'wakw. My name is Makmalak Ira Ogwaka, and I'm here from an invitation from Marianne Nicholson and Siku Alulu to participate in this Woven In exhibit. I'm also part of the Tidelines, the Coastal Resistance of the 60s and 70s exhibit at Open Space Gallery. And the purpose of the exhibit came as a result of a gathering of activist artists of the 60s and 70s. They felt it was really important to document the history of those 2 decades that they were part of. So that is how Tidelines started. And it was a living exhibit, so it just kept building as more people remembered information and would send it in, and we'd add a timeline of historical events of the activism. Actually, I brought the first of my archives from the 60s and 70s, which included many different newsletters that I'd saved over the years, partly because, in a way, it was our grassroots history in those newsletters. So I saved them all these years, and when we were starting to work on the Woven In exhibit, I brought up many of the publications to share and for people to look at. And this is a result of that sharing, was to create a panel of the examples of some of the many, many newsletters at the time. There were hundreds and hundreds of newsletters that were created by people all along the coast and all over Canada. And that was our way of conveying the issues that we were dealing with at the time. And so this is actually a living history in the pages of these newsletters from those times, from the 60s and 70s. But this is more from the 60s to present time. A lot of the movement, it was a grassroots movement. It was a movement by the people in our communities and in the cities. And the artists played a very big role in helping create newsletters, doing the artwork for the newsletters, creating T-shirts to fundraise, and beaders to create beadwork to sell, to keep the movement moving forward. And so a way of conveying, what was important to keep the movement and the resistance very much alive was through the vehicle of newsletters. The pages are full of artwork and poetry and, different expressions of art. For myself, in the 60s and 70s, we really actually worked interdependently. We all created this work together, and we didn't really document who did what. It was a collaborative event. But I also feel over a course of time, the voices of women have been eclipsed in the work that's been done in various movements and activist work. And colonization is very patriarchal. So as it progresses, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's continuing. And so the intensification of patriarchy will continue as well. I think for me, I feel that we need to, as a people, as Indigenous people, as women, Indigenous women, but also all people, to remember that we have valuable stories, and it's important to share those stories, not to get locked into thinking that the only stories that are of any value come from the elite, because it was the ordinary people that built this country, built this world, created relationships, made beautiful works of art that no one saw. I think that the voices of all people, the stories of all people, that includes the women. The women need their place in the stories, as do all of the grassroots people, because the powers that be aren't going to write our stories. We have to write our stories for each other and to remember